Hi guys, and welcome back to another video on the channel. So I want to say a really quick thank you for all the love on my 17 Happy Birthday album review and reaction. I really appreciate all you guys' comments and all the likes and everything. It's been so great to have so many K-pop fans and carrots find my channel. Like, it's been so lovely, and so I want to say thank you guys so much. So today, by the title, I'm sure you know that we're talking about the Netflix live-action adaptation of One Piece. Yes, I'm late to the party on this. Everyone did their reactions and their reviews of this show back when it first came out in 2023, and people have been obsessed with the anime and the manga for years. So I know I'm late, but I'm here now and just in time, ready for season 2 to come out next year, which I'm so excited for. Obviously, I'd heard of One Piece. Everyone's heard of One Piece. Everyone always talks about One Piece, but I never watched it. Not the anime or the live action. I never watched it, and I honestly couldn't tell you why. After the first initial promotions came out for One Piece 2023, I kind of forgot it existed, because when I first saw the promotions, I was like, this looks so cool, need to watch this when it comes out. And then it completely fell off my radar and I missed out. I really missed out. But then I was watching Tudum, which Tudum, if you guys don't know, is Netflix's version of D23 Expo. And if you don't know what that is, it's kind of like where they promote their new shows and drop exclusive, new, never before seen content like teasers, trailers, snippets. Sometimes they do the first 5 minutes, first 8 minutes. I think they did that for Wednesday this year. And just basically, it's a fun night of announcements and surprises and stuff with the casts of all these different shows on Netflix. And yeah, it was really fun to watch. And when they got to the One Piece segment, I was like hooked. So they had like a little moment with the One Piece cast, with the 5 main cast, like a backstage moment, and it was so cute. They all looked like they were having so much fun and they had so much energy, and they just were so happy to be there, and I loved that energy and that vibe, and I was like, oh, I'm so excited for their segment to come up. So anyway, we get round to their segment and they're introduced by like these shadows of their characters kind of in the background, and I was like, this is so awesome, like this looks so cool, and it was so intriguing. And then they got to walk out and like kind of talk about the characters, talk about the show season 1 and talk about season 2 and how they just wrapped filming it. And then they released a little clip of a character called Chopper, I believe, who is a character from the anime, obviously, and they're introducing that character into season 2. I was super intrigued by the show, and I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna watch this. I'm gonna give it a go. I'm gonna give it a shot. Like, there was no specific reason why I'd never done it. I'd never done it. I decided I'd start watching it, and then I finished it in 2 days, and now it's my new obsession. Yay! So this is going to be a little review of my thoughts on the live action adaptation of One Piece. Disclaimer, warning, this review is coming from someone that knows nothing really of the anime or the manga, and I only know what's happened in season 1 of the live action and nothing beyond. I've seen a couple things on TikTok because it has consumed my For You page, not just the live action, it's mostly the anime, and so I know snippets of what will happen in the future, but I still do not understand the universe as much as I would want to. So don't worry, I'm already looking into trying to start the like 1,000+ episodes of it. But yeah, I just wanted to put a disclaimer that this review and my opinions are from someone that only has the knowledge of the live action and nothing beyond and nothing, you know, before that. Also guys, just want to put another disclaimer out there. This is going to be a spoiler review. There will be spoilers. There will be spoilers. This is not spoiler free. There will be spoilers. So if you don't want spoilers for the One Piece live action adaptation season 1, out of here. Out of here. Save yourself. It's fine. I'm okay with you not viewing this. Save yourself. Go watch the show, and then if you want to come back, come back. So I'm kind of going to go through episode by episode. If you guys have seen one of my reaction / review videos before, which I've done on Outer Banks and Cobra Kai, then you'll kind of be familiar with this format. If you haven't seen those, basically going to go through by episode and talk about my favorite things and my thoughts while watching the episode. I did write a couple things down while watching, but most of this was after finishing the entire season because, as I say, I finished it in 2 days, and it was just mostly me rotting in my room and watching each episode and having a great time. So let's start off with episode 1, Romance Dawn. So first of all, the character introductions were perfect. Like, the way, obviously now knowing more about the characters from finishing the season, the way they introduced each character was literally perfect for who I perceived them to be. I could tell the vibe of each of the characters like immediately, which also then gave me a bit of an insight into their future dynamic as a crew, and also how they all then came to meet together and start to work together. Like the forming of the bonds between Luffy, Nami and Zoro in particular was done so naturally. It didn't feel like it was wrong or like super fake. Like it felt very natural and very just based off Luffy's character's energy. So a bit more into those three main characters that we meet in this episode. Luffy is such a different type of main character. His optimism and ability to see beauty in everything is so refreshing to me. With a lot of shows nowadays, I'm finding that main characters, especially male main characters, are kind of similar to the Zoros of the world, and as much as I love that character arc and that character type, it was very refreshing to see a male main character like Luffy who is just genuinely optimistic, energized, happy, a bit delusional, but all around just a complete vibe and crazy, and I just really enjoyed that. And then just from the snippet that I've seen at Tudum, I'm pretty sure the actor that plays Luffy, whose name escapes me now, Inaki Godoy, whose name I hope I'm saying correctly, he seems to also have Luffy's energy and vibe, and so I think that that was a brilliant casting. And yeah, I really love him as our male main lead for this show. And also finding out all the stuff with the devil fruit, which I'll get onto later, was so cool. His backstory in episode 1 was done so well. It was brilliant storytelling, and you could understand his character's motivations and determination and how those have manifested and carried through into who he is now in his teenage years. I'm pretty sure they're all meant to be 15 or 17. Oh, I can't remember. I did see it somewhere. I'll put on the screen what it actually is. Okay, now on to Nami. So Nami was the most intriguing character throughout this entire season for me, personally. I always felt like she could turn around and do something that would make you rethink everything that had happened prior and her actions prior. Like, she truly felt like someone that knows how to weaponize themselves and play a part almost. Like, it felt, I never really trusted her. I never really was like certain on where she was at, but I found her so intriguing. And like, I just found her so intriguing. Emily Rudd did such a good job at carrying that, if that's what Nami's supposed to kind of give. Like, I never trusted her. Like, until obviously we saw her backstory and everything kind of got revealed about her in episode 7 and 8. But prior to that, I was like, she could go. She could get up and run. But then there were so many moments where I wanted to trust her. And I was like, hold on, this could be her turning around. Especially when she befriended Kaya and that sort of moment. I was like, I want to trust her. I want to be as faithful to her as Luffy is and see her through his eyes. But like, as a viewer, I was like, I feel like she's going to betray us. And then she evidently did, but we also found out why. I really loved her character. I loved the depth to her as a female main character. It was so lovely to see. And yeah, now Zoro. Zoro was my favorite character. Like, not only just because he was so surprisingly kind and loyal for a nonchalant king. Like, he was nonchalant and he was chill and he was like sarcastic and eye-rolly, which I think those are some interesting character traits that leave room for a lot of like depth and stuff. But he was so kind and loyal in his own way, which was refreshing for that nonchalant type character. Like, I really enjoyed him and his entire arc this season. But like, one of my favorite character traits about Zoro was his dedication to his craft and his dedication to his promise that he made his childhood friend. Obviously we find out more about that in episode 4. We find out more about his backstory and his promise to his childhood friend, and I love how we really see a focus on him carrying that through, and I genuinely think that that is going to stay a focus for the entirety of the run of this series until he can defeat the warlord guy. I think even then I think he's still going to try and keep that promise and proving himself to be a better swordsman and the best swordsman. His immediate, unwavering loyalty to Luffy was once again refreshing to see. Speaking of his unwavering loyalty to Luffy, the way the first 3 crew members came together was proof of their characters. Zoro with the loyalty, Nami just following along to better herself. That completely makes sense for her character as who we know her to be by the end of the season. And Luffy being all smiles and just pure trust and belief in his new friends. It was perfect for the characters, perfect for their dynamics, and you immediately saw them fall into these roles within their crew that they stuck with until the end of the season, I'm sure, for seasons beyond. One thing I wasn't expecting was to see Koby leave the crew so early. I thought he'd stay by Luffy's side after seeing how shitty the Marines can be, but I do like his character's attitude to try and change things and do good by people, and the fact that he's trying to change things within the Marines. He stuck to his dream, and like the concept of following your dream being such a big concept throughout this entire first season was something that was so beautiful. Like just that concept of Luffy following his dream and basically creating a crew of people that have dreams that they feel like they can't achieve, and he created this crew and he's like, we're all gonna do this together. Life is about achieving your dreams, you know? He'd been told through his backstory, we see he'd been told all his life that he wouldn't be what he dreamt of being and that he couldn't be it, and so but he'd never lost that desire and that drive for it. And yeah, I think that's a really good message, and I think that's maybe one of the messages of at least this season is follow your dreams and don't listen to those around you who are telling you you can't, because you can. That's just something I really liked, and I like how we did see Koby follow his dream of being a Marine and now changing things from the inside. You know, I enjoyed his character arc. I haven't spoken much about him or the Marines throughout this because honestly I couldn't remember much about it because I've only watched this once. I will rewatch this definitely before season 2 comes out. I've already been tempted to rewatch it and I only finished it like 2 days ago, so I will definitely be rewatching it and learning more about it, but I couldn't fully remember that much about the Marines or Koby specifically storyline throughout this other than like the main integral plot points, if that makes any sense. As someone that knew nothing about this universe previously, I caught on pretty quick to most things due to the show's brilliant storytelling, which I mentioned before, especially the telling of the devil fruit. I can imagine that maybe that was it's a complicated concept to explain, that there's so many of these fruits that if you eat them you're kind of making a deal with the devil, so you can no longer be in the sea or like swim, or sea water is a weakness to you, and each fruit is different. No fruit is ever the same and they all give you different types of abilities. I can imagine that's a very difficult concept to try and actually put into words in the beginning, so I give props to the creator of the story and the director and the team that brought all of this to life, from the anime to the live action, everything, because I caught on pretty quick to this entire new universe within episode 1, which for me is new. You know, like sometimes you find that in pilot episodes or in the first episode it's always intriguing but you're like, I need to watch more to fully get kind of what is going on, but when you have such a broad, big, different and new concept, it takes that extra bit of explaining, and I was glad they took the time. Episode 1 is the longest episode of the entire season and I think that that makes sense and it works. Episode 1 was great, and then off to the Grand Line we go. So episode 2, The Man in the Straw Hat. First thing I have to say is, my gosh, that clown was Buggy. Bro was so fucking annoying. I'm sorry. I've seen on TikTok that people and like they've watched the anime and stuff, like he's a very popular character. I don't quite understand how at this point, but like I say, I'm someone with the knowledge of only the live action. I get he's fun, he's different, but the things he said to Luffy and the way he treated them, fuck him. I didn't like him. I did not like him, but I can grow to like him, and I imagine that when I do potentially watch the anime or I do watch the new seasons, I'll probably come back and watch this and be like, Molly, what are you saying? He's great, but I'm not a fan of him at this point in time, and I will stand by that. And the fact that he just can't die. Like, his devil fruit power literally meant he cannot die. Like, how can you kill him? I guess they could like blow him up. But would that even work? Would he just get those little fragments of himself and put them back together? I don't know. I don't know. I really enjoyed the Nami and Zoro sibling bonding that we kind of got to see, because they're both sarcastic and kind of judgmental type characters, and they've also both had to be tough, you know, all their life. Like, I think, to be honest, most of the characters that we meet in this show have had terrible childhoods, like awful, and so they've all had to be very tough their whole lives. And but I think with Nami and Zoro in particular, it's become part of their character and part of who they are. That toughness is shown on, like, it's like how people wear the heart on their sleeve. They really wear their toughness on their sleeve, and like that's kind of just like who they are. And so I was really like to see their sibling bonding that we had throughout this entire episode. That was really nice to see them get closer, because right now it was like Luffy and then his friends, and they weren't really friends. And so it was nice to see them bond, and it was cool to see firsthand how the seawater affects people with the devil fruit. I thought that was, you know, they'd explained it and I'd understood it, but I do like that then they showed us visually how that truly did affect Luffy when he was put in the seawater. It was basically like it was punching him, it was like hitting him, and he just couldn't breathe and couldn't like swim and stuff, and that was really interesting to see, especially for a pirate on a ship. He's brave, literally living out at sea when it's his biggest weakness, you know, that's brave. I really hope that they keep that throughout, that the seawater is a weakness. I think the concept of it being a devil fruit and it being something like you're signing yourself, part of yourself away, is such a great concept, because because we're going to encounter, as we already have, people that choose to eat it. Because Luffy ate it by accident. We're going to encounter people that chose to eat it, and people that chose to eat it knowing the sacrifice. And I think that will speak a lot for those characters and who they are. So I hope that they keep that as like a thing. When they came back to help Luffy, I got goosebumps. Like, I knew that they would. I knew they were going to help him, but part of me was worried, because when Nami had like chucked the hat off of Luffy's head and tried to run, I was like, girl, no, please. So I had faith in them, but at the same time I was like, what if? But it was really cool when they came back to help him and fight for him and fight for the map and stuff. It was cool to see. I don't remember too much of episode 2 other than the very integral things, because at this point it was like 2 a.m. because I decided, I was like, I'm gonna watch One Piece literally at midnight, and so at this point I was like at 2 a.m. and I needed sleep. But don't worry, as I say, I'll be rewatching the show because it's already taken up my life. But I don't remember too much of episode 2 other than the very important parts. I'd say my favourite part of the episode was Nami and Zoro sibling bonding, and Luffy with the seawater, and us being able to see that. The stretch machine thing as well, that was, oh my gosh, and the whole part about how Buggy had basically raided this land and he'd kept all of the villagers there in chains to laugh and watch his circus show. What the fuck? And then we met the fishmen. That's where we met the fishmen. Fuck the fucking fishmen. Fuck them. I mean, maybe not all of them. But that main guy, what was his name? Algarve? Hold on. I did have it down here somewhere. Arlong, Algarve. Arlong, fuck him. Don't like that motherfucker, but we'll get onto that. Anyway, episode 3, Tell No Tales. So this is when we meet Usopp, and once again they killed it with the backstory, just opening up with him ringing the bell, going through, and then obviously we got later on in the episode more into about his mom and everything and how the village views him. Killed it with the backstory. I still don't fully understand why Usopp lies about the pirates coming. I don't fully understand. I can't remember if they did explain it. I'm sure that they did, but I didn't fully get it. I don't know. So if someone could explain that to me, that would be great. Why Usopp goes and tells about the pirates coming when they're not. That would be amazing. I loved his relationship with Kaya. I really, really did. And it was like the first part of the show where it was like I could see romance. Like prior to this, like there was like no romance kind of things going on, and I enjoyed that because, you know, I think these guys are going to be working together as a crew for a long time, and I don't think that any of them will be together. I don't know, I could so be wrong. This was kind of the first bit of romance that I saw, and yeah, I really liked his relationship with Kaya, how he'd come back and he'd tell her stories of his adventures and how she would just like eat up every word he said. Like, it was really sweet. And their outfits for the dinner. Guys, their outfits for the dinner was so good. Oh my. Nami looked amazing. Luffy looked amazing. And don't even get me started on Zoro. They all looked so good. Can I just say, I want to just very, very pretty cast. Very pretty cast. Like, everyone was so pretty. Netflix have a thing for like casting hot people. Like, and they did such a good job. Like, they were so hot, all of them. Anyway. Those outfits ate so hard. The dinner and the butler, us really getting a look into the butler's kind of relationship with Kaya, a very manipulative, controlling relationship, was cool. The way Nami kind of caught onto that too with us as viewers and spoke up for her and was like, I can't remember what she said specifically, but she did speak up for her at the dinner table. And then Luffy's big speech about why he wanted the ship and like kind of climbing on the table was so Luffy, and like it was really nice to see Kaya not be freaked out. She was kind of just like hanging on to his every word, the same way she is with Usopp's stories. I just love that. Can you see this bit of hair is annoying me? Okay, even now, it's like, is this okay? I don't know. Guys, I'm having a hair crisis midway through talking about One Piece. Because all their hair is so good. Sorry, I didn't mean to lead on to that. But I love the exotic hair colours, especially for Nami and Zoro. It's like just all of their characters' looks were very them. It was like they almost had like a colour scheme for each character, and like it was almost like a branding for them as who they are, and I liked it. Luffy eating the poison soup was insane. Like I did worry multiple times, why does he have 0 survival skills? Like, he genuinely has 0 survival skills. All he has is friggin' plot armor. No, I'm kidding. He does not actually have plot armor. Like, he's actually he's actually written very well. Someone please get that man survival skills ASAP. Thank you, ASAP. I don't know if I missed something, but the way that they obviously, like, they knocked out Zoro, did they actually think that he died from that? Like, he just got hit over the head with a glass bottle. You think he's dead? You put him in a well, you think he's dead? Are they stupid? I mean, they kind of are. Those vampire duo people were kind of dumb. Bro is not dead. Get him out of the well now, bitch. I enjoyed the Kaya and Nami bonding that we saw, and Nami's character development with the stealing and stuff. Obviously, she's still a thief. She's always gonna be, but I think she now knows not to thieve from good people. You know, not every situation requires it, I don't know. But like, it was nice to see that moment and see Nami actually bond with another female character, given the opportunity to bond with another female character. It was nice to see. And I really enjoyed that kind of scene and how they made it obvious that this was like a big turning point for Nami, just with how the dialogue was. I also liked how they all spoke about how that both the boys and the girls spoke about Kaya and Usopp and what their feelings might be. That was really cute. That was really cute. I really ship Kaya and Usopp, and I hope that they reunite and we get to see them reunite and stay together forever. So episode 4, the pirates are coming. So I hadn't actually been noticing that the title screen had been adjusted to focus on the topic of the episode until this one, because it was so obviously the Zoro title screen, and obviously with the opening bit before the title screen came on was Zoro in the well and trying to get out and a bit about his past. We knew this was a Zoro focused episode in terms of backstory, but I hadn't noticed prior to that they'd been changing them, and then from then on I noticed every episode, oh shit, that's what this is about. So I really, really, really like that touch, and it feels very unique. I mean, other shows do it, definitely, but it felt almost like a very One Piece thing to do. Zoro's backstory makes so much sense in terms of how he is now, and I really hope that we get to see him fulfill his promise, and the fact that his drive to fulfill that promise is what gets him out of the well shows how important it is to him that he carries this on, and kind of seeing the backstory kind of come in and out throughout this entire episode and be like a recurring theme and bringing us back to Zoro just shows like how long he's been holding this promise, because we were held waiting for what had happened and what it kind of was for the entirety of the episode, and it kind of, for me, reflected how long he's been holding this promise and how long he plans to keep it and fulfill it. And I think it's really cool and explains so much about his character and his drive and his motivation. And the 3 swords, it explains about where the 3rd sword comes from. The butler guy is a creepy creep. Don't like him at all. I like how Usopp came back for Kaya, and how Nami, I thought when Nami was running, I thought that maybe she would have left and she got out before they put the lockdown, but no, she went to Kaya to help her. Once again shows the effects that their conversation had on her and their friendship. Loved that. I liked how they'd done the fights, how Luffy had gone to one-on-one the butler guy with his devil fruit powers, and then we got to see Zoro's incredible swordsmanship that we'd kind of seen him be building up and like working on in his backstory throughout the episode, be put to work when he took on the 2 vampire pirates. I think they were vampire, but they acted like vampires, I don't know. But when we saw him take on both of those kind of effortlessly and then get out the 3rd sword and put it in his mouth. And yeah, and from the clips that I've seen so far of Zoro in the anime, once again, a brilliant casting choice with Mackenyu. I think I'm saying his name right, Mackenyu. He really embodied that character. But then from seeing some things, some press stuff of what they've done, he seems like so much more kind of lighter and energetic in real life than Zoro is. And so it's really nice to see how he'd really taken on that role so perfectly, even when he's not as Zoro-y in real life, but he still definitely has Zoro traits from what I've seen so far. So once again, brilliant casting. I think the show was really great casting wise. Obviously I don't know much about the anime, I'm purely going off what we got and the vibes of the characters that I've seen and from little bits of research that I've done. Their new ship, the Going Merry, is fucking fire, it's gorgeous. And we got Usopp and Kaya kiss, which I found out apparently doesn't happen in the anime. Don't know if that's like true, but apparently they don't kiss in the anime, but we got one in this, which means that they're canonically kind of confirmed to have feelings for each other at least. I don't know if they're like committed or exclusive or that with each other, but I was super happy about that. Which if they've kissed in the live action and they've not kissed in the anime, maybe that is hinting that they are going to bring maybe more romance plot lines into the live action. But I've seen lots of people say that One Piece is not a romance show, and it's definitely not. It's a show that is based on character dynamics and character bonds, but not in a romantic way, in more of a family, found family kind of unit, and how their characters bond with each other are the reason they are successful. And Luffy being the centerpiece of all of that, bringing those people together, is why they are successful. And, you know, I'm certain that the show is going to keep that at the heart of its story. But maybe it would be refreshing to see some more romance bits come in here and there, and some side plots or some sub-character plots. But I think in terms of the main 5 crew, I don't see any of them being together, really. Maybe other than Sanji and Nami, purely because Sanji was like flirting with her at one point. It seems like Sanji just loves to flirt, I think. I don't know. That's the only one that I think I could see out of all of them. They all just seem really family. They seem like a family unit, seem like a found family, seem very sibling coded. That's just my opinion though. I know that the ships in this show, especially the anime in particular, are very committed to, and people are very... Sorry guys, has changed my battery, so sorry if the framing's different. What I was saying is that I've seen that some of the ships like that are in the show, obviously more so the anime than the live action, are very well followed, and there's people that are very committed to those ships. I don't really know much about the ships. Like the characters that I've seen shipped the most are characters that I haven't met yet, because obviously I've only seen season 1 of the live action, but I know that there are ships that are very dear to people's hearts, so don't shoot the messenger. I just, out of the core 5 anyway, I don't personally see any of them together or being together, just purely because they seem like siblings. But hey, I haven't seen the anime. I could be so incorrect, and there could be literally love going on between them romantically. I don't know. Anyway, on to the next episode. Episode 5, Eat at the Baratie. The concept of a restaurant on a ship and there being just a random hub in the middle of the ocean is super cool. Like as soon as they turned up to it, I was like, oh yes, I love this type of world building moment when you kind of get to see that sort of thing. Like it just seemed really cool, and a place that I wish was real and that I could visit. Where my grandparents live, there's a restaurant on a ship, which is kind of cool. We've eaten there once before when I was younger, but I always thought it was such a cool concept. To see that in like a series was super awesome. And this restaurant was like 5-star, high class, gorgeous restaurant. And I loved that. It was super fancy. And I kind of wish that we'd seen them in maybe more fancier outfits like we'd seen at Kaya's dinner, because like I said, I love those outfits they ate up. But I also get why we didn't. Usopp's outfit to that dinner though, 8 down. Fucking 8 down. He looked so cool. And all the outfits 8, but like I wish that we'd seen like maybe a little bit more fancier, maybe just a little bit, but I still love them anyway. And hello Sanji. We meet Sanji and British accent. Hey! I have a British accent. Cool. He was really cool. And then when he flirted with Nami, I loved that. Hello. And then all the others made fun of her. It just confirmed to me, like, so sibling coded. Like, they've already become such a sibling energy, and her just being like, I hate you guys. It's such a playful way. So sibling coded. I love it. I enjoyed seeing more of the Nami and Zoro bonding because, like I said before, they're very similar in many ways. And so I really enjoyed seeing more of them bonding together over the little drinking game they did about finding more about each other. I thought that Sanji was a little bit of a dick, just a little bit of a dick at the start, but he's actually such a sweetheart, and I like how they showed that in such a flip the switch quick way when the man came in and he was starving and needed food, and Sanji was like, immediately, I'm making you food, I'm feeding you, you come in here, you get fed. I don't care. I really like to see that, and it really said a lot for his character. And I immediately was like, Sanji, I love you. You're so cute. I love you. So Taz Skylar plays Sanji. And he's not just an actor, he's also a screenwriter, which is fucking awesome. I enjoyed getting to know his character briefly in this episode. Obviously, we get more on him in the next episode. And these backstories were done so fucking well, like so well. It was crazy. And also the focus on him and his dream, and we kind of getting a little bit of an introduction on what his dream is to be, and to find the All Blue and to be a chef and work properly at the restaurant. Really good really good introduction to him as not just his character, but also his character's relationship with the head chef, Zeph. Zoro, what the fuck? Zoro, what the fuck? Bro, I thought you were smart. I thought you were smart. That was my live reaction to it, by the way. That was my live reaction. I was stressed, to say the least. I loved, though, how immediately when Luffy remembers what he said about his promise, he supported him. I loved that because, once again, it pushes that message about Luffy being the guy to go to if you want to follow your dreams, and this whole show about following your dreams. And I, as a viewer, was like, Zoro needs to do this. Zoro needs to do this for himself, for his promise, because that's him, that's his character, and that is... For him to not do it would be such a strange character choice. Like, he needs to do this duel with the warlord, who is the so-called greatest swordsman. And I love how Luffy was behind that for him, even if the result wasn't the best. Yeah, but Nami being like so bothered was, at the time I'm watching, I was like, are they hinting at a romance? I hope not, because I really, really was enjoying their sibling energy, because like I say, I think they're so similar, and I think they could really find a space of healing within each other, but not romantically. I don't see that personally. Sorry if that's a big ship. I don't know if that's like a big ship for people, but I really don't see it. But I thought that maybe they were hinting at it, so if it is like a ship for like the live action or the anime, like I would maybe get it, but I just personally was like, I really like what they've got going on in the sibling vibe. Like, I think that suits their characters more. Roronoa Zoro, the stress that you put me through. What the fuck? I really loved his delivery of his like final lines after he got defeated, though. It felt the perfect amount of drama. Like, it was really good. I loved his delivery as like as the actor. He did great, and once again spoke volumes for his character. Now, episode 6, the chef and the chore boy. So first of all, we start with Sanji and Zeph helping Zoro. That was, for me, confirmation. Sanji is definitely coming with the crew as their cook. I kind of already had these suspicions that I was like, I think we're gonna find another crew member here, and I was like, yeah, he's definitely going with them. Confirmed, because they brought him in so heavily. His backstory, Sanji's backstory, That must have been so scary. I mean, obviously I know it's not necessarily real, but like, he was just a little kid, and he was a tough kid too, very tough kid. That must have been so scary for him to literally starve for 70 or so days on this island. Not even island, it was like a rock. It was a floating rock in the middle of the sea with only one person on there that he wasn't even allowed to talk to, with only like a tiny amount of food. And then he goes over to that person that seemingly didn't like him and he didn't like, all to find out that he'd basically sacrificed his life for him by not giving himself any food, and he ate his own leg. I was so gagged. I was like, oh, that was like one of the biggest plot twists so far in the show, was that he ate his own leg and that he hadn't kept any food for himself. I was like, what? I was not expecting that at all. I really love that, because once again that really solidified their bond, Sanji and Zeph's bond, because much as before in the episode prior we kind of had seen that they didn't necessarily get along at the moment, that just spoke volumes that they didn't get along because it's a father and son duo. They're gonna argue, they're gonna fight because they're family, and like that made so much more sense, and I love that. Also, I love that the whole plan was that Zoro was going to be brought back to life by the power of friendship. What is this, Thunderbolts? First of all, can I just say, on the topic of Thunderbolts, another one of my new hyperfixations, I've been obsessed. That movie was so good, and it was also my whole For You page. My For You page at the moment is One Piece, Thunderbolts, and how to become an actor, because that's my dream. That's my dream. Luffy, please help me follow it. Thank you. Anyway, I enjoyed that was going to be the concept, because once again, this show really, for me, focuses heavily on character dynamics. Because when you have someone like Luffy at the center, that just makes sense. Like, it's focused on character relationship and dynamic and love for each other and support for each other. I was begging Nami in my head to not leave and betray them. I was like, please, Queen, please don't. But I knew she was going to. But what I did not expect was that she'd been working with the fishmen for 8 years. First of all, I didn't expect her to be working with them. But for 8 years? Sorry, I swore at you guys. Apologies. For 8 years? I was not expecting. Like, this episode was the most plot twisty episode for me. I was like, what the fuck? Because she'd spoken about how much she hated pirates. She's working with the fishmen? They're horrible. They're horrible. I was so surprised. And the tattoo. What the fuck? That was crazy. But at least Zoro woke up. At least Zoro woke up, and I love how it was to Luffy's grand gesture of finally saying what he wanted to say. And just seeing Luffy this entire episode be kind of have a broken smile on his face that didn't seem very genuine. Seeing him like that for the first time was very interesting, and it shows how much he cares about Zoro and the rest of his crew. But yeah, Zoro and Luffy's friendship I think is my favourite friendship of the show. Done so brilliantly. You've got this optimistic, happy-go-lucky, youthful energy kid, and you have this brooding, protective, but intensely loyal guy. It's very big brother, little brother kind of vibe, but I just think that they're best friends, they're besties, and I love that. I also love Zoro's little remarks to Sanji. Like, it's quite funny. But I want to see more of them all bonding with Usopp. I want to see more of that, and obviously Sanji, but Sanji's still so new, so I didn't expect them to have a crazy bond with him yet. But yeah, enjoyed the episode. Very good. Once again, the most plot twisty episode so far. Okay, episode 7, The Girl with the Sawfish Tattoo. So this is the Nami backstory episode, which I had been waiting for. I wanted those answers so bad. Like I said, she intrigued me the most, and I was like, what is she gonna do? I never knew. Her backstory, it might be the saddest so far. Like, she was such a tough kid and she went through so much. Honestly, it's hard to compare their backstories truly, because all of them went through the shit. Like, awful. But I do think that Nami's seems the most traumatic, mostly for the fact that she had to then sell herself practically as like a slave for these fishmen who killed her mother in front of her. She had to abandon her village and basically live with them all hating her for 8 years, when in reality she was just trying to get it back. That was a crazy twist when it was finding out that she'd just done it to get the village back and help the people. Like, done so well. I've put so many times, brilliant storytelling. Like, it truly was done so well, and the acting was so good. Loki, I have no complaints with this show. Like, it was so good. I think maybe the only one complaint I would have was that at some points it felt slow. At some points in the episodes they felt long. There were some scenes that felt a tiny bit fillery, and I was like, there was times when I was getting a little bit losing focus, but that is literally only tiny bits. The rest of it was enticing. I was hooked, I was there, I was in the moment, and it was great. So yeah, that was my only notes on it really. But anyway, the way that Nami stabbed at her tattoo was actually horrifying to watch. Not because it looked painful or it was gruesome or gory, but because she didn't seem to feel the pain at all. Like, she just felt this intense like rage, and you could see that, and her life's work of practical enslavement for her enemies has gone down the drain. She deserved so much better. She deserves so much better. I loved Nami. Like, honestly, I loved all the characters, but I really loved Nami. She was so great. And Luffy being the first one to show up for her and giving her his hat that he got from Shanks, the straw hat. That felt like it meant so much. And especially when the hat's importance has mostly been shown through Nami's understanding of it and Nami learning about it. Because as we've seen in the previous episodes, she's the one that asked about the hat. She's the one that used the hat to gain an advantage on Luffy with Buggy. And it's kind of been through her and her conversations with him and her actions with him that we've learned about the importance of the hat. Obviously, until we got that bit of the backstory when we saw Shanks give him the hat. Prior to that, like, we kind of learned about how important it was to Luffy through Nami, and so the fact that he then gave it to her and you could see she understood its importance was a great choice. On to episode 8, Worst in the East. The final fight went so hard. I was so happy with it. I didn't really know how they were going to play it, but I was so happy with it. Luffy having the one-on-one with Arlong was so great. Him kind of, as he's fighting him, discovering, him realizing physically, I don't know if I'm going to be able to beat you, but I can outsmart you. And then making the whole thing crumble around them. Brilliant. Once again, shows not only Luffy's fighting skills and showcases that, but also showcases his intelligence, and that being his upper hand in the fights that we've had so far. Another thing that I want to talk about that I don't think I've mentioned much is how it's showcased that Luffy is a different kind of pirate. He's not the pirate that takes people and shackles them up to watch the show and laugh. He's not the kind of pirate that steals. He's not the kind of pirate that kills people for fun. Like, he is a good person with the original dreams of being a pirate and what it means to be a pirate in their universe. And so I loved how they showed that consistently throughout, and I loved how they showed that even in his friendship with Koby. Like, they kind of communicated that through his friendship with Koby, and the fact that Koby knows that he's not the enemy here. He's not who they should be hunting. They should be hunting the bad people. Luffy's not a bad person. Just he's going after the Grand Line doesn't make him bad. You know? Going after the One Piece, man. Just let him get it. Let him find it. Zoro and Sanji fighting all the fishmen and each other was so impressive and funny at the same time. I really, really like their dynamic. I love the little snarky comments and the little, like, arguments. I don't necessarily know why they don't like... I think they like each other, but I don't know why they do that, but it works and it makes sense. And I really enjoy that. And yeah, I really enjoy that. And I really, really enjoyed that final fight with them taking down literally all of the fishmen on their own, the two of them. Like, I don't know where the fuck Sanji got his fighting skills from, but someone set me up with his trainer, please, because it's so impressive. He can, like, jump 5 feet in the air. Did he eat the devil fruit and get the jump fruit or something? Like, cause bro is crazy. And Zoro with the swordsmanship. Being the greatest swordsman in my opinion. Slayed. Amazing. Even when he was, like, super, super injured still. And he was doing it like it was nothing. Then seeing Usopp's one-on-one with the second-hand, like, fish guy. Well done, King. I knew you could do it. Outsmarting him. And the horror in their faces when the building collapsed onto Luffy. Once again, shows for their dynamic, shows for their bond, shows how much they love each other in such a small amount of time. The Marines showing up and Garp showing up just to leave without the Straw Hats was so confusing. I get he's his granddad. Like, I get he's his grandpa. And I don't agree that he should be going after them because they're not bad people, but the way that we'd seen his motive throughout the entire season so far, and the way he'd been like, I want to take them back here, don't want him to be a pirate, blah, 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 blah. to then just leave, it felt strange. It had to be done because otherwise they would be taken in and then we would still have an unfinished business thing in the season. Maybe if someone could explain that back to me, I would appreciate that. And anyway, now we're back on our journey to the Grand Line to find the One Piece. It felt like we got so sidetracked to do other things, but all of those things were very important things to do, and they led us to our new crew members and they led us to helping Nami, so they were necessary. I loved how the wanted poster was the thing that helped us revisit all of the loose ends of the characters from the season. We saw Buggy, we saw the pirate lady from the beginning looking at the wanted poster. I love how the wanted poster is just him with his thumbs up and like posing. Also, Shanks seeing the wanted poster and being like a little proud dad. I really hope him and Luffy reunite next season, because their relationship and their dynamic through those flashbacks was so cool. And Shanks seemed very different at the end of the season to who he was. Still like a nice person, but he seemed not like the pirate he used to be, not like the nonchalant kind of I'm not worried about you because I could defeat you, you know, like it seemed different, and I'd like to know more about that, and I really hope we do get to see him reunite with Luffy at some point. But yeah, that was the season finale and that was great and I really enjoyed it. I loved this show so much more than I ever expected I was going to. And let me know if I should watch the anime, because I really want to know what happens and I want to have the context of it, but I also don't want to spoil it for myself because I want to find out what happens as we go. But then I guess I just find out through the anime. Like I don't know, but all I know is I really want to fully understand the universe, and I think the best way to do that is by watching the anime. But maybe there's a way you guys can suggest that I do it, that maybe I don't necessarily spoil it all for myself for the future live action seasons, but I just think maybe that's just the way to do it, you know? The anime came first, watch it. And then I can see the differences that the live action has. And also if you guys know where I can watch that in the UK, I mean, I can just Google that. I'll Google that, but let me know if you think I should watch it, because I kind of really want to. I said this many times throughout this, but I love when shows focus on character relationships to move along a story. It gives it so much more depth for me. I wonder if any of the main characters are going to die in the future seasons, because it would be so impactful. Like obviously if any main character ever dies in the season, it's very impactful, but because this show is built off those character bonds and dynamics to push it along and to create their success, it would be so impactful if one of those characters did die. I mean, it'd be terrible. I don't want anyone to die, but like it would be very impactful and it would move the story along in such a dark way. It would change the tone of the entire story. I really want to see more of those core 5 chilling together on their way to the Grand Line. I do know that they're going to be bringing in some other crewmates at some point, just from things I've seen in the anime, and also they've done some like casting announcement things a couple months ago, maybe even last year. But I would like to see a little bit in season 2 of just these 5 kind of developing their cohesive relationship and love for each other. On a final note, just to throw my straw hat in the ring, cast me ? For season 3 if there's gonna be one. I would love that. I've never said this on my YouTube channel before, so this is kind of scary to like be like, cast me, as if anyone's gonna see this, but like why not say it? I want to be an actor. It's my dream, and if you're looking for anyone, I would love to do it. And obviously I don't know any of the other kind of female characters that are in the future seasons because I haven't seen the anime, so if anyone does know someone that would be open, like me playing, let me know. That'd be cool to kind of find out. And either way, I do definitely plan on watching this anime. I think I've decided, as I've been talking about it, that I am going to watch it, but let me know if you guys think that's the right decision. But I hope you guys enjoyed this review. I will definitely be doing more One Piece stuff when we get the teasers and the trailers out. I'll be doing some prediction stuff like I did with Outer Banks Season 4. If you haven't seen those videos, go check them out. They probably ran up on the box either side earlier. Really enjoyed this show, and I cannot wait for season 2, and I can't believe I waited so long to watch it in the first place. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys again very soon. Make sure to like and subscribe and comment. Love ya.
Love you. Bye.
Love ya.